Blog Talk Radio.
Problem lies in that I am so cool that I wear sunglasses inside, so I don't always see when people call in. My screen is very bright, and it does notify me. It flashes and beeps, kind of like R2-D2 having a seizure. But with my cool sunglasses on, I don't always see it. So I apologize in advance, because I probably won't let you in if you call. It looks like Zigzag is maybe here or not. Zigzag, are you there? Are you there? I see a host has called in. I don't think it's me, although I am a host, and I have called in. Maybe I'm on crack. Anyway, interesting story about today's show. It has been nominated already for 12 Blog Talk Radio Awards. Count them, 12. One is Best Enunciation of 3 vowel words. 2 is Best Face for Radio. I'm not really sure if that's an award or a slap in the face, but I'll take it, if I can frame it and put it on a wall. The 3rd award is for human odor for radio. I don't know. I'm kind of getting carried away. I sure as hell can't carry this on for 12 more awards. You may have noticed, if you care, that the title of the show was, or is, On the Road. I'm going to have to amend that because I'm not on the road. I'm actually home in my lavish Hypersloth radio studio. I'm talking to you straight from the golden Hypersloth radio microphone. But the reason that it was called On the Road is because I had assumed that I would be calling this in, literally phoning it in, on my cell phone while stuck in the automotive vehicular constipation that is Austin rush hour traffic. Rush is so not the word for what that nightmare is. I mean, you literally don't move on a highway with like between 3 and 4 lanes where there are no stop signs and no traffic lights. You somehow, for some reason, can only go 0 all the time. So I thought I would be sitting in that and calling into the show with my phone and not here in my comfy, warm, air-conditioned studio. And the reason for that is because my wife, who is a bargain hunter, which sometimes is good and sometimes is bad, found us a new stove/oven contraption on Craigslist because ours broke. And what happened to ours is that the thermostat broke, which should be easy to replace. You get a new thermostat and you plug it in and do all the wires and hopefully don't get electrocuted, and then your oven works. Unfortunately, ours is some special type of oven that they only made for our house where the thermostat doesn't come off. It's like welded and molded into the very fabric of the oven itself, so you can't just replace that without in turn replacing so many other things that you may as well just buy a new oven/stove, which is what we decided to do. And I put my wife on task to go find us one because she finds good deals. She finds used deals, but that's cool because typically they're good. And she did. She found one on Craigslist for a sweet deal. And it was up to me to go pick it up. And I assumed, being on a Craigslist ad, that it was a dude or a couple in a house, a residence selling it. And therefore, on a weekday, I would not be able to make it there until after 5, when they likely got off work as well as me. But it turns out that it was actually a used appliance dealer in North Austin, so I was able to go run up there on my lunch break. I made sure to take my lunch break like late in the afternoon because, again, you're taking lunch break in Austin and you plan to go anywhere, you're stuck in this quote-unquote rush hour thing where you're going 0 on a wide-open super highway funded by so many tax dollars it makes my brain veins bulge, and yet somehow you can't go beyond 0, maybe 0.1 miles per hour if you're lucky and you're driving an emergency vehicle. But anyway, I was able to go up there and pick it up on my lunch break, and it looks like a fantastic piece of equipment. It's black and sleek, which is the new thing for appliances these days. Actually, I guess brushed stainless steel is, but I'm bucking the trend. You know, now that when people hear that Rufus of Hypersloth has a used black stove/oven, it's all over. You know, GE and Sears and all those other guys better start cranking those out, because as of today, there's going to be a run on those. You're welcome, Sears. The only problem with this that I've seen so far, I haven't taken it out of the truck, is that it's got a glass front, and that's really the reason the previous owner got rid of it, is because it broke twice and it cost like $70 or $80 to replace it, and they felt it wasn't worth that repeated hassle. I don't know if they live in a donkey farm where they just have donkeys running around the kitchen kicking shit, but apparently it broke a few times, enough for them to say, okay, this otherwise perfectly good stove thing, we're just going to sell that and get rid of it. But, you know, I ended up with it, and it's a glass front. I made it all the way back here without breaking the glass. And, you know, I got a 3-year-old here. He doesn't have any donkey DNA in him. He's probably got a little bit of jackass thanks to you-know-who. But I'm kidding. It should be okay. He doesn't usually run around kicking things or throwing things in the kitchen. He did once. We punished him severely, but he was able to walk again within months, you know, once the cast came off. I'm kidding. We don't punish him that way. We make him sit in timeout where there is no food or water or human communication. We only talk to him using shadow puppets in a language that we made up, my wife and I, that we completely understand, but we have not taught him any of it. And we change all the words every 3 months. So he learns a lot of hard life lessons, but he'll be better off for it, and our new/used stove/oven won't get broken. Other than that, what's going on? Let me see. We are seriously still considering a move to Nicaragua. However, we're now not looking at San Juan del Sur. We're looking at Grenada. And the reason for this is, although San Juan del Sur looks like a great place and a partying place, a happening place, you know, we are a couple with a kid, and it doesn't look like a place where you take a kid. It looks like a happening party place where people have a good time and enjoy their lives, not people with kids. So now we're looking at Grenada, where there appears to be more families, retirees, you know, retirees fear everything. They're terrified of teenagers, of pickle jars that can't get open, cars that go faster than 20 miles per hour. They're terrified of everything, and yet retirees feel completely safe and fulfilled in Grenada, Nicaragua. So I'm using that as my barometer and assuming that that's a great place to live for a dude like myself who's not anywhere close to retirement. But I do have a kid, and kids, like super old people who are retired, fear the shit out of everything. And, you know, so there's a big expat community there already, and apparently they're a little bit organized, and they work with the local government and a bunch of charities, and so they're really embedded and trying to be a part of everything, and that really sounds like where, you know, we fit in best. So we're now looking at Grenada. We are planning on going in August 1st-ish, and so we have to get several things in order. We're going to have to get a bed and breakfast. We're going to have to get airline tickets to fly there. I'm not going to drive. And we also had to get passports, because neither one of us had passports, and neither did my 4-year-old son. which is no surprise. I was pretty sure he had never left the country. But on our way to get the passports, I got pulled over for a speeding ticket because we were running very late. Again, this is something that I had to do after work because I'm a good employee. I never take vacation. I never leave early, and I work through my lunch break. In fact, I eat with one hand. I have my one hand for a mouse and a keyboard, the other hand for food. So we had to make it to the passport place in San Marcos very quickly. So I broke as many laws as I could get away with to get us there, primarily the speed limit law. And I got pulled over just as we got off the frontage road into San Marcos. I was so focused and had such tunnel vision on this passport thing that I didn't notice the cop was behind me with his lights flaring until he had to actually make noise at me. And that was pretty cool. But it's never happened to me. I mean, I've almost accidentally killed a cop, which I talked about a few episodes ago, but I've never had like a cop in hot pursuit of me to the point where he had to turn on the noise and warn everybody else, get out of my way, I've got to get this guy, that guy being me. So I pulled over, and he said, where are you going? There's an emergency. You know, look, I have my wife and kid with me, so that kind of helps you look like a legitimate citizen. And I said, look, man, I didn't say man, I said, sir. I said, look, sir, man, I'm just trying to get to the passport place. I'm in a hurry. I'm sorry. And he said, well, you realize you were speeding, right? And I said, I have no idea what the speed limit is, but I'm pretty sure I crushed it. He said, okay, I'll be right back. And he went back to his car and did whatever he does and came back with a ticket. And he said, where are you going? I said, well, we're all going to Nicaragua. And I'm glad that's all I said, because my sense of humor it's almost like Tourette's, my sense of humor, but I'm glad I have control over it, because I almost said, so that we can pick up a couple of kilos of cocaine. But I didn't, so that worked out well. I had good judgment. But we made it to the passport place. Everything went well. We signed all the required documents, and we should have our passports. Hopefully, the way I foresee this working is, I would like to get my passports in a week, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a 1 foot on the steps up to the plane with no passport, and some delegate from the government is going to come speeding up in a black Suburban and jump out and just hand us our passports. I think it's going to come that close to the wire for us, because that's just the way government things happen. I mean, speaking of government, have I mentioned traffic in Austin? You go zero on a taxpayer-funded highway. But that's how my weekend went. And today. And I have a bad feeling that Zigzag has tried to call in, and I have somehow failed on activating something in the studio so that he can talk. And if that's the case, and if Zigzag, you can hear me, dude, I totally apologize. It's not your fault. It's mine. I see that somebody's calling in. It says host. I'm assuming that's me. No, that was just me. Well, that's about it for the show. I only block out 15 minutes per show. I know it's called a happy hour, but that's because that sounds better than happy 15 minutes, and my Photoshop skills are limited, and I had to make a banner for it, so I'm calling it happy hour. I think what we'll do is take a bunch of 15-minute episodes and put out a box set that will equal an hour and call that the Hypersoft Happy Hour, and then we'll sell that for what it's worth, or what people are willing to pay. We'll probably price it at $300, and hopefully people will pay what it's worth and give us $1,000. But we'll see. You never know. Some people are cheapskates. Some people may only pay $80 for an hour-long show. Whatever. But anyway, folks, I guess that's all I got for today. I'll be back in your face Thursday. So come check it out. Come call in, tell all your buddies and all your enemies, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Stars in the net on a mission love. I'm checking out the chat rooms for a virtual dove.